Welcome to Beyond the Press Release, a production of Gorecom, in which we take the time to speak to small cap executives after they put out big news. And guys, for those of you in the story, if you didn't know that live video commerce is a $425 billion economy just in China for 2022, you're going to love this interview with OOOO Entertainment Commerce, trades in Canada under OOOO, that's 4 O's, and in the US, OOOF. Live video commerce, what do you need to know about it? It's an online shopping experience that feels like, picture this, it's an amalgamation of the Home Shopping Network and talk shows and auctions. And it's taken China by storm. $300 billion in 2021, up 85%, made up 12% of total retail e-commerce sales. It's insane. $425 billion projected in 2022. Where does OOOO come in? They're providing the infrastructure, technology, and the people to power this live stream economy through the OOOO app outside of China. And more than just lip service, guys, there's studios in London and Manchester, over 30,000 square feet of studio space. They've already expanded to Italy, Brazil, the Middle East, partnership with TikTok, over 500,000 installs on their app globally. The likes of Nike, Lego, L'Oreal have already sold product through the app. I can go on, but here's the best part. They've taken that technology and they've used it to sign multiple license agreements in other verticals. Fans.com is an NFTs for the global soccer world. Schiller, to be launched pretty soon, imminently, we're going to find out about that, is a video commerce space for NFTs and digital assets. And Taken Seat is a licensing deal in the Middle East with a Kuwait-backed venture builder. Today's news, they've signed a binding MOU with Q Globe to launch a global social commerce platform for gamers. Sam, welcome back, man.
Good to see you.
This, a lot of people may look at the face of this and say, okay, great, it's another licensing deal. But I took a look at the terms, and it seems like this is being valued at about this partnership, this entity, at $33 million in the first couple of years, and as much as $40 million in year 3. What do we need to know about how big this is and what you guys are tackling?
Yeah, I mean, I think if you look at video, there's a lot of people waking up to the reality that, short video and live video platforms are very much the language of the youth. That's how they communicate now. It's certainly how we expect people to shop. And, there's a lot of pressure on platforms like TikTok from certain governments around the world. Is this a platform that's going to stay? Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. But there's certainly room for other platforms using video for all these people that have been trained by TikTok, to expand these type of surfaces into other things you're doing in your life, whether that's buying vegetables, whether it's buying clothing, whether it's buying gaming technology. So we certainly believe that everything we've built in the last few years is going to give people a shortcut to launching their own video platform. And we've seen this, throughout the year. In the Middle East, we launched Mojo. So this gave our partners in the Middle East a very fast start with this Mojo app. And if you click on the OOOO website and you click on Mojo, you can go and see their link tree, and you can actually install the app. They already built it. And the only reason they built it this quick and went live was that they're using all of our services, that we already built through our own app, OOOO. Obviously, then we announced we're going to be doing this deal Schiller, which again is short video and live video for digital assets. It will certainly work as well for real merchandise, but a real focus on Web3, NFT projects. How can influencers in Web3, how can NFT projects such as Bored Ape Yacht Club, CryptoPunks, how can they go live from an event and communicate with their members? So that sees us bring in some new features, such as token gating through the tokens you have in your wallet, such as avatars that you can have through AR filters on your face. So yeah, I can say the development of that project's going really well. It will launch in December of this year. So that was after the Mojo deal, we did the Schiller deal, where we took an equity piece in that project and contribution to the costs of it. And in the last three months, we've been working on this gaming deal with Q Globe. So this is the most recent announcement we made. And yeah, I think...
Tell me how that's going to work. So up until now, and for people who are maybe watching this for the first time and trying to grasp it, imagine, George, if I want to sell something before, I had an e-commerce store and a Gorecom, buy my hats. And I have video that I do, right, this with Sam, but I never had an ability to actually sit and talk to the world and say, by the way, let me show you the hat, and let me show you my jersey, and let me show you my hoodie. And Sam, what do you think? So that's your technology. How are you applying this to gaming is what I'm curious about. That's what I'm trying to wrap my mind around.
Yeah.
How's this going to work with Q Globe?
Well, firstly, Q Globe, founded by a guy called Apollo Green, who's he was behind a social media page on Facebook and Instagram called Worldstar. He was one of the founders of that. He's one of the biggest. He's one of the biggest.
Worldstar. That's
yeah,
massive.
yeah. So Apollo was a big part of their story. He's the founder of Q Globe. Q Globe's in the gaming space, very big in Web3 games, IGOs, initial game offerings, where he partners with Binance. So I really liked what these guys were doing in terms of Web3 gaming, really acting as an accelerator for games coming into the space. And I think to answer your question, if actually gamers are probably the perfect user of video. If you think about Twitch,
Sure.
there's a global community of people who are constantly recording, what they do in gaming, really to share tips and to show people what they're doing, whether it be Fortnite, Call of Duty, or FIFA. If you look to China, which we always do in this space, there's some enormous platforms called DAOU.
Yep.
Another one called
Trades on the NASDAQ.
There's another one called Hoya, HUYA.com. And then obviously Tencent, probably the greatest tech company in China, in my opinion. Its heritage is from gaming. So Bilibili is another one in China, but all of these platforms are connecting people through video centered around gaming. And to answer your question, when you watch people, there's a few different monetization events that are happening. Firstly, you can purchase merchandise, so hardware, controllers, joysticks, servers. You can buy physical items. So you can buy a Call of Duty hoodie, or but the other interesting thing is you can buy access codes to different levels. You can buy skins for characters,
Cheat codes.
You can buy exactly. You can buy land. And obviously the IGO, initial game offering, is the ability to participate in the funding of a project, which is something as well. So really, you could say gaming is a vertical, but actually in a way it's a horizontal, because it's touching so many things. It's almost its own little fiefdom.
Gaming, by the way, everyone should know, is bigger than Hollywood, bigger than movies when you talk about gross revenues throughout a year. So it's absolutely massive, and it touches every corner of the planet. So now, Sam, if I'm a gamer, am I going to be able to, let's say I'm playing against you on Twitch, playing Call of Duty, and I get this fantastic kill that everybody loves. Can I, splice that and sell that as a digital asset? Is that part of the kind of thing, in addition to things that you were talking about as well?
Yeah, I think certainly version 1, and our technology does a lot straight out of the box. I'm sure Apollo is going to have a vision of other things they want to add to it. But straight out of the box, it will have short video, it will have live video. We've already built a test environment for the application. It's live already, we're playing with it. But that can sell digital already. It can sell merchandise linked to our backend system. So the guys are showing that off in the US at the moment. So we were not sort of thinking of doing anything in gaming ourselves, but we were waiting for the right partner to come along. But we had it down as a top 5 category. And as you say,
partner. It's a great partner.
No, these guys are, one of their other partners was the first employee of Twitch. Their advisors and investors are some of the biggest names in Silicon Valley. I've spoken to them myself. So to your point on the numbers, they wanted to license the technology, which obviously we've done with others, in Mojo and Schiller and so on. But they also wanted the option to buy the IP. Now, I wasn't really up for selling the IP, but they wanted the ability to do this because they think there could be a big exit down the road. And they were also keen to say that they'd license it back to us outside of gaming. So if you read the document that we released, they have the option in year 1 to buy the tech for $10 million US, paid 5 + 5. If they take the option in the second year, they can play 6 + 6. And we get a license back of our technology. And I think that's a pretty good deal to take an equity position plus cash plus license back. I was very happy with that.
I also like it because, look, these are serious people, right? Apollo's serious, Worldstar, these are serious people. They don't just throw numbers into a binding. This is a binding MOU, right? This isn't just throwing on the wall and let's see if anything comes of it. So when I see that people put real numbers like this and they say, "Hey, Sam, this might go so well in year one. I want the ability to be able to buy that and own that software specifically for gaming, and I'll pay you $10 million for it." That tells me they got big plans. You know, when are you guys going to be launching? And what kind of plans do you think they have for it in terms of, because they've got massive audience all over the place. You know, how excited are you about how they might roll this out in gaming?
Yeah, I think they already have a footprint in the gaming market. You know, 50,000 people on Instagram. They're very active in this niche of Web3 games, which I think is very interesting. You know, they are a partner of Binance, so I think you'll see them definitely play a piece in this. You know, with whether it's a couple of IGOs a month. So I think one of the reasons you'll touch this surface is because you'll hear there's an IGO coming and you'll want to participate. So you'll do it through this application. I think the other thing they'll do is they'll tie down a lot of influencers in the gaming space. So people who already have a large following on Twitch and YouTube, who can come across here and use this platform. And what's in it for these individuals is they can monetize their fan base. They can sell their hoodies, they can sell their advice on this platform. So I think it will center around that. And then I imagine they'll also, I know they're close to a number of the big gaming studios.
Sure.
So I think, you know, anyone that's doing an event to launch the new FIFA, the new Call of Duty, you should be broadcasting that live. And then I think, you know, we have to, you know, pay a lot of attention to these other Chinese gaming platforms. How are they building content? You know, I think if it's not happening in China, it probably won't work, is generally my philosophy in this space, although the culture is different, the technology is leading in mobile video. So yeah, so I think it's going to be a fascinating year, and I'd say it's the biggest announcement we've had in the company history to date. You know, it's
wow.
With the people involved.
I'm going to timestamp that. Let me ask you a question. This is now your fourth, if I got the numbers right, your fourth big licensing deal outside of shopping specifically. Man, what does this say now? And what does this tell your shareholders about validation? The fact that, you know, some of the biggest entities out there, you know, in the Middle East, the Kuwait-backed venture builder, now you got Apollo here, that all of them are coming to OOOO to license the technology and even buy it. I mean,
yeah. Well, I think it's interesting that the last few of them have not been shopping.
Yeah.
Or they've not obviously been shopping, but I think that's also interesting because retailers are not fast to embrace new technology. You know, and it really pisses me off, to be honest with you, that they don't move quicker, because I think they need to, because the market's so tough. But if you think about Web3 is very new industry and gaming is very familiar with Twitch, these two are running fast with this type of technology. I think what you're going to see from us in the next couple of months, especially now Steve is on board, is you're going to see a couple of big retailers embrace our technology. Sadly, not at the pace of the gaming guys who move lightning fast, or the
well, they're
NFT
big
guys.
behemoths, so they take longer, but when they come on board, they come on board with a vengeance, right?
Yeah, they do. And I think our job, you know, Steve and I are trying to focus on what are the categories that lend themselves to big communities: watches, sneakers, wine, memorabilia, things like this, where there's big existing community on other platforms that we can bring across. And secondly, who's the market leader? Who's going to category kill a space? And if we can choose those, or it could be just a dominant retailer that wants to kill everyone. So for us, it's who do we choose as our partner, and how do we structure those commercial terms? So Steve will be coming out with a few announcements. I'm trying to take the lead on some of these other initiatives, you know, people that are moving quickly, and we've got a few others in the pipe that are not traditional retail, but there's a retail angle in them. But I think that's the great thing with video; it can touch all dimensions.
And Sam, as a shareholder, and the shareholders are watching, it sounds like what you're telling us is your pipeline is really full and filling up with sounds like some potentially tier one names, or some really great names out there that really want the technology.
Yeah, of course it is. I mean, I think I think just to give people a sense, we started speaking to the gaming guys 7 or 8 weeks ago. We had some very intense meetings with them. They flew to London. We met them in the UK. They came to our site in Manchester. They went over to Asia. They went to the US. But throughout this whole time, we put the deal together and we signed. So, and I think the reason that happened was not just because we met them in person, but we could show them what the app would look like with their branding on it. So the technology is real, it's built, and it was customized quickly to show them this is what you can launch with. So what they now have to do is go and build a go-to-market strategy, because the tech bit's done. You know, at least version 1 of the tech, that's the power of our platform. So I think obviously the more of these that you do, word gets out that this is what you do.
The first one's always the hardest, and then it just becomes a momentum.
It is. And we decided to pivot the business model at the beginning of the year, you know, away from running our own marketplace and doing everything ourselves. And that obviously takes time to go from a B2C to a B2B. But I think I can see it.
Smart pivot, man.
Yeah, I mean, listen, a painful pivot. And but I think when we've got 15 of these with, frankly, quite messy structure in terms of how much equity we own in each of them. Some of them will have no equity, some of them will have a big amount, some of them will just take fees, some of them will take percentage of sales. But I think when these build up, we'll have almost a video style Shopify model, you know, which for big companies.
Last question, because I know you've got to get back to the business of OOOO. It's November the 22nd. You know, we're almost, in about 3 weeks, business is going to start to shut down. It sounds like we may have more news coming out of you before then. But if you look at where the company is today and where it was on January 1st, on a scale of 1 to 10, how confident do you feel about the company's prospects now going into 2023 and 2024? When you look at the roadmap, how strong is the company relative to where it was?
Well, I think unfortunately for us, we had to go through a big, expensive build to really learn this space. You know, it's like you said at the start of the talk, it's a $400 billion industry, and it is an industry in China, this space. And the industry contains app technology, it contains studios, it contains agencies, it contains influencers. We had to build a mini version of that in our own business because it doesn't exist in the West, certainly not in the UK. So going through that, and January 1, we were still in the middle of that. I remember on Boxing Day and New Year's Day, we were making live shows last year, which is, incredible to think we were doing that. But we had to go through it to get the attention of lots of brands, partners overseas, and people like TikTok. And I view it all as a learning experience. And that learning experience now allows us to meet a partner 7 weeks ago and now announce a deal with them.
Well, essentially you built an incredible prototype, right? Because if you try to explain that to the world, say, hey, GeorgeCom, this is what I think I can do for you. I say, Sam, sounds good. I'll get back to you. And you don't have these 6-7 week closing like you do now. It might take months. It might not take ever but you built it. And I don't think it was pain. I think it was a great investment. You had to test out yourself, and now you tell the world, George, I can give you this technology. Let's talk terms.
100%. I mean, today I spoke to our partner in the Middle East. I said, "Is there anything you need from us?" They said, "No, the technology works great. We're live." Awesome. And that I remember how painful a day was when we were doing 10 live shows a day. I mean, you have a heart attack on a daily basis. It felt like, but if we can get to a place where we got 20 partners touching verticals like fishing and sneakers and gaming and fashion, and if we can do that in multiple countries, I really believe that's a really interesting business model. But has it been difficult to get to that vision? Yes, but sometimes that's the way it is. And so I think with what we're doing with Schiller is a very, very important what we've built, and I'll just touch on that. So in the Schiller application, the creator, who's a influencer or a musician or an artist, they go live from an iOS or Android app. They record themselves, and they can add to this recording NFTs from marketplaces. They can also add merchandise from websites. They can add avatars to their face, showing them as an NFT, which is a popular thing. They'll be able to modify their voice if they want to remain anonymous. They'll also be able to, and this is a really important feature, token gate who can join the show. So
course.
I can say, if you don't have a crypto punk, you cannot join this show. If you don't have a Manchester United token, you cannot join this show.
So big, because the last thing you want is a bunch of spammers and bots and
Yeah,
all
yeah,
that nonsense.
yeah. So
right now, Elon's going through on Twitter, right? And you figured that out.
Elon's going to go and do everything we're doing in this, and that's he's obviously got a much bigger platform. But Schiller does some really interesting things. But this is the important piece. When you create that show, it's going to share it as a link, schiller.io/George. Now, if anyone clicks on that link, they don't need an app. They can watch the show in Nigeria or Canada. Or now, in that show, there'll be a small button which is called a deep link, which will click and then it will open up the app. But that website experience we inserted in the middle is very, very important. And actually, it's a bit like OnlyFans, which OnlyFans is draining people away from social media platforms to the web. And by us inserting this website that then pulls people into an app, it allows us to operate outside of iOS and Android if we choose, and if the user chooses, before being pulled into iOS and Android. So that particular innovation we can take outside of just what Schiller's doing. So if we want to do something with the biggest sports company in the world or the biggest car company in the world, they can have a web and an app experience. So this is the great thing about doing all these partnerships. Our underlying code base keeps getting better. You know, we keep learning. So it's almost like OOOO version 7 is where we're at now.
Hey, iterate as fast as possible, update, and I'm going to leave it at this. I know you got to run, but I know I love your technology enough. Business bias aside, friendship partnership aside, we're already talking about in here about how to utilize this platform, because it's going to be powerful for everybody. And I think you guys are way ahead of the curve. And I can't wait to see not what's going to happen in Q1, but 12 months from now, December 2023. I don't know.
I tell you one thing: the share price will look cheap 12 months from now.
Oh, it always does, right? Everyone always says that, and the smart people get ahead of it. Well, listen, we can't give anyone advice at home, but you've got to do your due diligence. Look at the licensing deals. Look at the breadth of what the industries are and how they're going to be applied. Look how Q Globe itself, the terms it set. It's talking to you. It's talking to me. I'm excited, Sam. Thanks for being on, my friend. I know you got to run.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it. Take care.
To everybody at home, you've been watching or you've been listening to my podcast on Spotify, Google, Apple, your favorite podcast platform. To Sam Jones of OOOO Entertainment Commerce, trades in Canada under OOOO, in the US, OOOF. Get to the profile page on Agoracom. Do your due diligence, because you know what the future of live video commerce is going to be. OOOO is on top of it. Thanks for joining us. Have a great day. See you next time. Hey guys, the video's over, but don't forget to help your company by liking it and even leaving a comment below. And then don't forget to help yourself by subscribing to our YouTube channel so you never miss another great Agoracom small cap video.